But I think that is what he's saying.
All right, Jeff, just we talked a couple times, but it appears that the May 2nd date is kind of not going to happen. No chance of that going down. Not enough time to work a promotion for that. Let me ask you first. Floyd seemed pretty set on fighting at that date. Chance he'd be willing if the Manny stuff can work out that they'd move that date, and would that bother Floyd?
I mean, to be honest, I don't really know. I mean, like I said, I ain't got nothing to do with the negotiations, and so I mean, I really can't speak on it, because I don't know.
Right. Let me ask you this. Manny and Bob Arum have been very vocal, talking to the public, saying they've agreed to everything. Floyd has chosen to do his negotiations behind the scenes. He doesn't negotiate in public. However, doing that, it's turned the public perception against him. We talked about this before, but if this fight doesn't get made here, I think more than any time in history, Floyd's really going to get a backlash from the fans if this doesn't get made. Do you think he feels that, and do you think that any opponent will sell anybody or any pay-per-views if he doesn't make them any fight?
I mean, I don't think Floyd's like I told you before, Floyd's legacy is not based on Manny Pacquiao. So I mean, people will get mad, and you have fans that love Floyd. They ain't gonna come out to see Floyd no matter who he fights.
But I think in this case, because it's been closer than ever before, they won't. Do you think if he fights Cotto, he'll sell him over 1 million pay-per-views?
Yeah, I think so.
You think?
Yeah, I do.
You don't think that they'll be so upset? Enough people.
Yeah, he got enough fans, and Cotto have enough fans. Yeah, I think they'll make over 1 million buys without Manny Pacquiao.
What is it? Do you think that Bob Arum doing this, even though it's turned the public maybe onto their side, that it's hurting any potential of fight getting made by him constantly having to be at the front, knowing how much Floyd dislikes him?
Well, I mean, I don't know how true it is, but I just heard that Bob said some crap about Floyd being Hitler. You hear that?
No, I didn't.
But anyway, I heard about that crap, and then I heard that he, like always, he rebutted it, and he went back and said, "Oh, well, Floyd with the thing, I didn't know Floyd was doing, this and that, and Floyd was doing, a great job with the negotiations and things." And then, and then he apologized. At least that's what somebody told me. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure if somebody told me that and they can show it to me, I mean, it happened. Because Bob Arum will say that himself. He said, today, I'm lying, but tomorrow I'm not.
Everybody was talking last week when they met at the Milwaukee Bucks Miami Heat game, met at the basketball game, met afterwards in a hotel room. Then, of course, obviously everybody thought, this is it. We're finally going to get this fight made. Just thoughts on what May went on there. Was that something more for the public to get their hopes up, or do you think there was something, fact-based behind that?
I mean, to be honest, I don't really know. Like I said, I mean, it's not my fight. It's my nephew's fight. And like I said, like everyone else, everybody's going on these sites, making up a whole bunch of damn lies about what's going on. Nobody really knows what's going on.
TMZ reporting was already a done deal.
Yeah, everybody's lying. Jim Lampley, well, he's fighting, they don't know nothing. Only people that know something is Floyd, Manny, Bob, and Floyd's team.
Well, let me ask you this. If you were Bob Arum handling Manny Pacquiao, what would you do, outside of terms, obviously the terms have to be agreed to, but what would you do in order to get that fight made?
I mean, basically, in order to get the fight made, I just sign the contract, and that'd be easy.
I mean, would you be talking the same way he does? Would you kind of shut your mouth and just kind of...
Yeah, I mean, because he's helping kill the fight. He's helping to kill the fight, and, basically, it's one of those situations where if I was Manny's, promoter, of course, I mean, I would let the guy fight. I mean, this is the biggest fight of his life, and I wouldn't have nothing to say. I'll go ahead and let the contracts be signed. Both guys sign the contract, and let's fight. All the other talking don't need to be done.
Do you think that's in Bob's nature, though, that he can take a back seat or not be at the forefront of negotiations for anything, especially a fight this big?
Well, I mean, of course. I mean, he's always been in position to, to be the head guy. But, I mean, but one thing about boxing, and you have an A side and you have a B side, and once that happens, you got to play your side.
And then if you were Manny, would you tell Bob kind of to shut up if you really wanted the fight made, or?
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily tell him that, you know, I mean, I guess Bob's been good to him, but at the same time, I would be like, you know, I mean, we need this fight to happen. So whatever we need to do, let's make it happen. You know, I don't care if we got to be silent. Let's make it happen because, you know, I mean, it's the biggest fight in boxing, you know, and it's, you know, and the crazy money that's involved in it for everybody. You know, it's not like, you know, Bob's not gonna lose anything. It's the biggest payday for him too.
All right, man.
All right, chump.